Now, in this video, I'm going to walk through the new Drift bot templates and bot marketplace that literally just dropped like 30-45 minutes ago. So, let's see. All right. So, this is when you're logged into your Drift account, which is your conversational marketing platform. So, right here, this is the homepage of Drift, and you can get a free account and so forth. Now, the bots cost more, just to be clear. However, they do have they have this thing. Oh, yeah. For early stage startups, right? So, for less than 10 employees, it's like 93% discount, which is what I did a year ago, and it expires actually May 10th. So, I'm really excited that they got this in before that happens, because anyway. All right, so here is the place. Now, back before this update, when you click this green button, you got a different thing happening, right? So this is the updated one, which is really, really awesome, because these first couple of bots, like Conversation Starter and Pricing Page, those weren't available previously, right? And then likewise, none of these were available as an actual one-click type of template. So what I'm going to do is I just wanted to go through the Conversation Starter as much as I can, and there's a lot to it. You'll see that it's such a mature bot from one click, and that was what is really just impressed me with this update, because what's happened is, as they rolled Drift out over the years, and they added the bots, and they added the knowledge base, and they added all this stuff, they've obviously been improving it ongoing, and the whole time they were using it on their website as far as for their conversational marketing and sales. So there's a ton of lessons learned, so to speak, that has been baked into these templates, which are just awesome. Seriously, just awesome. If you've built any bots beforehand, this is going to really blow your mind. And if not, then you're just not paying attention. All right, so we're going to create it. I'm just going to leave it as the initial name for now, the Conversation Starter bot, because it's the first one that's in my account anyway, right? So, as you can see, it starts out on the flow builder, but I can go and change that up if I want. So, excuse me. So, for instance, like, I'm going to go ahead and just say that this one, I think I want to do this. We'll see. Maybe somebody that watches this will be able to tell me if I'm wrong, although I'll be testing this bot later today. But here's the idea. Get rid of that. All right, so the idea being, I have my my Drift account installed not only on my main domain of jasonhobbsllc.com, but also on a bunch of other domains that are provided by my hosting provider, Liquid Web, which I use for demos that I put together as conversational websites. So as when you're working on your conversational sales and marketing, then you're able to actually have the idea is to help people understand how to make a conversational website really quickly. So, anyway, we'll get into that another time. But because of that, for each one of those bots that I create for those different ones, as far as those different demo websites, so to speak, which each has their own URL, for each one of those, I restrict it as far as the audience so that it would only show up on those pages. And so going back to the flow builder, though, so, for instance, here, when you click on the first question, it's telling you, so I'm going to leave this. I think I have access to the Clearbit data, but I'm not sure. We'll have to see. As far as this goes, deliver your value prop in a yes/no style question. Now, this isn't the first time that I've read this, even though I am saying that it's kind of my introduction to it. Let me kill this. But the first couple times I read that, I kept thinking that they were taunting me because the example that they give, I kept missing the EX, and trying to figure out the right chat for your site is hard, right? And I'm like, well, yeah, I'm having trouble doing that. You keep reminding me, but then I realized, oh, that was the example. All right, so let's see. I'll delete that, and then. So I have 106. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So basically, right isn't going to show, but I'll go ahead and save that. And now for the 2 responses is, yeah, we could use some help with that, which is a button, obviously. And we've all been there is the bot response. So I'm going to see if I can keep it like that. And then if they click this button, basically, it's going to take them to bot question number 2, which maybe we can help with your choice. What are you looking for? So, from your digital marketing. And I probably should be changing that since it is still just me. Although I should change in this year, or at worst case, beginning of next year. Oh yeah, so. Oh wait, no. Okay, so we have that button. Oh wait, that's what I wanted to do. So I don't know if I needed to necessarily change this, but we'll see. But I love the way that they have everything laid out. Like the thing that struck me from the very beginning was the maturity of the bot, and what I mean by that is that they have it all laid out, but they've also Starcy, get off. My cat provisor likes to get up there and so sometimes pee on it, and you can't have that happening. So anyway, a little bit too much information. All right, so oh yeah, the maturity of the bot. I'll show you, for instance, like they have the different responses, right? And so for here, like I'm not sure exactly what the benefit of the company, the first benefit that I'm going to want to go with here, but they've laid it out for me off of one click. So I'm not able to show you the entirety in this video. However, I am able to kind of let you understand, hopefully, kind of how powerful that this is. So if you have the Drift bots opportunity, or you have access to the Drift bots to create them, then deploying all the different lessons that Drift has picked up over the years is super simple these days, and getting increasingly simple, and I believe increasingly powerful. In my mind, that marketplace for these templates like this that other people will share, I think it's going to be awesome, especially like 18 months out. Should be amazing. But even now, I don't think that there's going to be a huge turnaround. I hope not anyway, where other people will have, examples or templates that they're able to share or sell, or, however Drift ends up deciding to deal with that. But so anyway, in this instance though, you go to the second question, you have these 3 benefits, and then you have all other responses. And so regardless of what they reply, it goes on to bot question 3, and this is all one branch, so to speak, right? So we started with that first question, and then based on them clicking this button here, then it put them onto this path. And so we don't split them off the path based off whichever benefit they choose. We just bring them on to the next question, which is, let's see, what if I told you that I could help you out with that? Would you like to see how maybe I can just try that, huh? So, yeah, okay, so then we have 2 responses, not right now, that'd be great. And then I guess other responses were just assuming that they're positive. And so they would go that way, but let's start with the not right now. Okay, so see, this is amazing. Like, I would have never in a bajillion years thought of this. Even if I had gone through, which at one point I had the task set down to go and basically map the bots that I interacted with Drift, but I never got time to actually do it. But maybe that would have been one way that eventually, with a ton of legwork and pain, I might have been able to eventually get to this, but I really doubt it. Even that way, like, I'm sure, it would have been more, I would have been able to do more mature bots, but nowhere near the maturity level of like this bot is after one click. So, all right, so bot question 7, leverage a piece of content as a second net to drive them down your funnel. Would you be interested in reading our demand generation guide to Drift? It can give you an overview of how our users use and see. That's a great, and even though, like, obviously the example isn't specific to me, but it's a great template to be able to kind of, take what there's the initial all caps explanation or suggestion, I guess, and even the first time kind of just model it off of that, basically copying and pasting this part and then seeing how can I transform that to where it's specifically applicable to my situation, right? And then in the future, here's the big thing that I've picked up about bots and live chat and just customer communication over the past 13, 14 years. It's a conversation, and you want to learn from people. You don't want to try and force a empowered consumer to go in any direction, right? You just want to be accessible and available is the idea, so that you're flexible and where they go, it feels organic for you. You're naturally right there. It's kind of how I approach it. So, all right. So no thanks. It'll take them to the goal of a bad lead. Sends them a message, thanks, and let us know. Great. It'll auto close it. This was something that I never could really figure. Well, eventually I guess I kind of did figure it out. But for the longest time, whether or not to close a conversation vexed me. And it was largely because when I went into the bot builder, I tried some of the stuff that they had, which are still available, but I was wanting to do a bot kind of like this, but, so I'd start from scratch, basically, and then from there, I never really, every single piece was kind of me trying to figure out, and it was largely because I didn't understand it in the grand scheme of things. I was viewing stuff compartmentalized almost, I guess is how I ended up eventually explaining it to myself, was I'm kind of viewing this as this bot, when in reality what I need to do is just, this is a customer conversation long term, and yeah, the bot could play a little piece here, awesome, but it could be email and live chat and phone and that play this, and maybe this whole piece of the whole conversation is actually through Zoom, as far as a video call or any number of possibilities. And once that kind of sunk in, it made things a lot easier for me going forward. So, excuse me. All right. So, okay. So here's the goal that they're looking to get people to, right? And so, okay, well, this is kind of the secondary goal, I guess, because it's going to get them that whatever the piece of content that we're offering here. So I have to figure out what piece of content makes sense. And over here, if they did go, so that was kind of the branch of, we're splitting them up and we're going either positive or negative, and that was kind of the negative route. Here's the positive route. So first qualifying question, how many employees work at your company? For this, I would probably start, I could use that, but I'm not focused on the enterprise at all, so I probably wouldn't use it, anywhere near like those numbers, just because most of mine are, they're under 150 at the most. Like that's the big end. Most of them are 25 to 50. On average. A lot of 1 to 10 as well that I've worked with over the years, and a few that have actually grown from that into some of the larger ones, right? And then, so here's the first qualifying question. My first qualifying question is typically, do you already have a website for your business or do you not, right? So I'll probably end up switching it to that. And then, so in this instance, this would basically be the disqualify. And I'm not sure what the piece of content would be, but maybe... Oh, okay. And just holler megaphone. All right, so I'm going to have to come up with that piece of content. And contextually, I'm guessing that that's kind of like, I'm guessing that they didn't qualify. Your first qualifying question, it's almost like these qualified on this column, and this column is the disqualified almost, right? So I'm guessing that maybe that's the piece of content is... I'll have to think about that. Because that's the other part, too, is if I'm doing, you already have a website or you don't already have a website, either way, it's not a disqualifier. So it's not really a qualifying question. Would that be context, I guess? Yeah, because it's going to determine where we start, right? It's always after I guess that would be after they've already qualified. So, yeah, I'm going to have to not use that. But either way, once I figure out what questions I'm going to use and what responses for them would be applicable, then, here's the thing. So we can send you a meeting invite. What's your business email? That's awesome. And I would have never, I would have never laid everything out this way. So one more question. What company are you with? So they only asked that if they gave an unwanted email. So I'm guessing that they're using, is it machine learning as far as to... Or maybe it's AI. I don't know. Either way, they're figuring out or trying to guess at what the based on, okay, they've said, here's how many employees that you have, and they did the email, but they didn't do an actual email like, jason@jasonhobbsllc.com. If I try to use, jasonhobbs@gmail or whatever, then they would get sent there, and I'm guessing that's why they're asking, what company are you with? And this is amazing. I would have never thought of this. Yeah, I would have never thought. That's awesome, and that's so helpful too. That's so perfect. And yep, that makes sense. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, so I never thought of this. Probably should tell. All right. So yeah, that's awesome. And then here is what we're coming here with. So this is kind of, they saved it and they did. So they're going to route the conversation. They're also going to send a calendar, and they are going to mark them as a CQL. So even though they gave an unwanted email, they gave the good response, I'm guessing, here to send, or, I'm not sure. Ooh, and what is test drift generated? I don't know exactly. I think I understand what that... Yeah, not company drift generated. I'm gonna have to... But it loops the question, so that's awesome as well. That's something I would have never, and have never, set up. So, okay. So conversation starter bot, definitely going to be keeping this, so... I'm going to have to finish up those other questions, and it's just going to take probably over this weekend, I'll just be jotting them down, and plug them in as soon as I can think of each one and the benefits that I want to put there and so forth. But it's amazing how far you can get started just off of a single click. So that's amazing. I'm going to go ahead and publish. And even though, it's not active. So we'll go back over to playbooks and let's look at a different one. I'm definitely going to keep that one. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be keeping this one, but and I have to finish it. However, let's look. So these were here previously, and yeah, I've never had the ABM. A landing page from scratch, email triggered, drip, awesome. Oh yeah, that's so much easier. And retargeting, create a customer. Ooh, that's interesting. Second, ooh, let's look at pricing page. All right. Hey, can I ask you a question? Sure thing. Let's see. The idea that they have this template available now is why I'm actually going to be adding a pricing page to my website. So it just made sense at that as soon as I kind of went through the Excel or whatever version of kind of starting to understand some of these bots that they were already using. All right, so can I ask you a question? Sure, fire away. What sort of business problems are you trying to solve with? We can help you figure out the best plan for your team. Oh, okay. I see what I'm saying. Okay, I see what they're saying. A little bit of all of those. Okay, so I have to figure out what the benefits I want to use, the qualifying question. And okay, once again, so they're basically sending them to a piece of content. If they're under 30 and if they're over 30, then they're going to ask them if they want to book a call, and if they do not, is going to offer them a piece of content, again, like they had done in that we saw before. And then, again, if they say, yeah, tell me, or yeah, let's do that, then they'll get the email. If they give them the valid email, then it's going to go to the pricing lead. It'll use the existing lead routing rules, mark them. It should probably mark them as a 3, though, right? I think so. And then reopen the conversation if the visitor chats back in. But so it's going to send it to them, but it's not going to worry about sending the calendar. It's just going to route them directly to them. So, all right. I'm not sure if I want to. Might end up tweaking that a little. I don't know. We'll have to see. Anyway, all right. So I've rambled on for like 30, 40 minutes, but at least I had my screen showing you some stuff. So hopefully it helped kind of understand some stuff. The grading response and the conversation ratings, I really haven't used them as yet, but I do plan on trying them. And then drift link and landing page, that's the same way that it was before. I wonder what happened there. You can see that's kind of offline, but otherwise amazing. These new templates are killer. If you already have Drift, then you're gonna love it. As far as if you have the bots, if not, I'd look into upgrading. And beyond that, if you're not using Drift and you do want to, then I know I heard I think Intercom, didn't they have like a huge price raise recently or something? If you started looking at different options beyond that, then Drift is definitely it's one I've been with for many years. And I used Intercom a couple of times for different clients that had accounts with it and so forth, and it was really cool, really powerful, but it was just, there was just a lot of it. I always kind of felt a little bit lost. And I gotta say, like with Drift, I've always felt pretty powerful, and even more so with these new playbooks and the way that it just, they're starting to put a bunch of tools out, or the pieces, the fine-tuned pieces, so to speak, that really can take bots from, kind of a novelty, so to speak, for a business, for a smaller business, and make it something that's just really a workhorse for the business as far as able to constantly have those conversations and allowing an empowered consumer to, do things their way and get what they want when they want it, whether that be content as they're educating their decision, and then once they've made their decision, getting whatever the fulfillment is and doing the pay and etc. Right. All right. If you have questions, Jason at jasonhobbsllc.com, or just go to jasonhobbsllc.com, and in the bottom right hand corner of every page you'll see the little dog, and it's, if you click on it, it's gonna do live chatting. I mean, I'm still a one-person media company, so to speak. So definitely feel free to reach out. And I'm typically really, really quick because I have it on my phone, and on my computer, so it's really easy. Well, not on my computer, but they don't have like an app for Mac or anything. But I always have I always have it open. Basically, I was looking right at it, trying to. Anyway, all right. Have a good one. Let's see. Oh, and if you haven't yet, read this. And if you don't want to read it and you're on my YouTube channel, you can always, I actually recorded myself reading it. And so I've read it more than twice so far, because I read it and recorded it from start to finish, cover to cover, so to speak. And then, I had to edit it, so I had to go through it again. And then I've actually read it almost a third time since then, just going back and finding different pieces that I remembered and so forth. It made, combining me reading this with the new bots is super exciting for my business. And it's going to be as well for other, under 30 employee businesses, so to speak. So yeah, I guess, yeah, we'll go with that. So we'll end the broadcast. 27 minutes, that's not that bad.